Welcome back, Rage Nation. Got myself Pete here.
That's not really exciting.
We got Senior Dixon.
I don't think that's appropriate.
And we got Monsieur Leopard.
Explorers deserved it. No.
Absolutely.
I was disgusted. I cannot believe they've done this.
Why is wacky? Why is that good? It's just nonsense.
I disagree on that. That's not possible.
We're getting the band back together. We're on a mission. Yeah.
Now we've got a whole new list of things to complain about.
Welcome back, Rage Nation. We are at it again. Got myself Pete here. And of course, with us, we got Senior Dixon with us from the land of Puerto Rico. And then, we also got from Chi-Town, Landon, because Landon and Dixon, a bomb got dropped on people. A lot of people were not aware of this. I was not. So I was surprised when it popped up in my feed that Oni is getting a rework. So that hard episode that we did, that was long with Brody, doesn't mean a thing now.
Yep.
It's all gone.
Yep.
I'm still
Not all gone, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, and like we were talking about
There's a lot of
before
hard
we
changes
started,
here.
and like we were talking about before we started recording, I don't know if this is a buff or a nerf. Like I know that the damage is going to be significantly less.
I think that's actually a good point, Dixon, because I was looking at the 10 Thunders, just like it was a really weird to look at the Discord for 10 Thunder players, because some people are like, sell the keyword, I'm done with it. And then other people were like, well, actually, a lot of this stuff's pretty cool, and Flickr needed to go away in a lot of people's opinions. So we'll talk about our opinions, but there was some conflicting things going on in the Discord.
Well, there's always a winner and a loser in any given marketplace. In a few months, we'll know who it is.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Yeah, I'm not going to plug all the normal stuff. We're just going to put that in the chat because it's a little late. We just did this. And I think, Landon, you're also, besides working tomorrow, I think you're getting ready to go out to Boston, aren't you?
That's true. The Danger Planet GT is this weekend. We're going to have some Malifaux going on, some Magic going on, some board games, a couple of indie war games as well going to be showing up. So it's going to be a busy day, and of course karaoke. So if you're in the area and you're on the fence, definitely go. But
it seems like a fun event. I think one of these times, if it's an annual thing, I'll probably try to make that like a summer vacation with the family and just also jump in and play some Malifaux. But let's get into talking about this Oni stuff. So I think there's a couple of big things that I think really sparked this, we'll call it a nerf, but I think it's kind of a sideways kind of just change of the keyword in general. One, I'll list them all and then you guys can respond. One, Flickr tokens were kind of a problem. I actually was talking with Beard on it in Discord, how Flickr almost limited the design space because you couldn't really make too much of a powerful model because Flickr was so good. And if a model was ridiculous, then Flickr would make it even more ridiculous. And then also, I feel like the title just wasn't playable in a lot of situations. I know some people did, but there was nothing that put rift markers out besides Asami 2. So that was kind of a problem. And then the third thing was Weird sold out of Minako Ray and the Katashiro. They were being played everywhere, and they tried to do a soft nerf to kind of fix that. So I don't know, was there anything I missed, or do you guys agree that's kind of the main issue?
Okay, so we're going to be talking about it, but I think Minako is still perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think so.
I think she's probably better now.
I just don't think you see her in like every keyword like you could have done before, but I don't know. What do you think, Landon?
Well, honestly, I'm going to play Minako more now than I was before, but we can get to that hot take when we actually get to that model. I think if you missed anything there, it was going to be, there was something there, and it's just gone completely. Oh, right. You said that, Flickr was a problem for the keyword and they just couldn't design around it. The last two models they released for it just don't have Flickr. They just didn't put it on Lady Yume or on the story of Suzaku. So
period.
I think you might be right in that they just didn't want to print more of it, but they just also didn't put it on the new models. So
I mean, they did put stuff in those two cards that basically that worked with diving charge, with placing effects.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will say that with and if you don't know, because maybe you're not a 10 Thunder player or you don't play Asami, the reason why Flicker specifically is really good because you use a Flicker, and if you use a Focus, you're essentially on a double positive for the dual end damage. So even if you're going into a henchman, they can probably only stone you to a straight. They probably can't stone you to a negative. So even henchmen you could blow up with like a Joragumo or the henchman or whatever. So they basically have to depend on stones at that point.
Yeah.
So it was
Or
just really
Molly
consistent.
players hated it because it was one of the few ways you could one-shot Kruligans.
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
See,
I was
if
literally
I go
gonna
back to
mention
Molly,
that.
I'm going to be super happy about that.
Oh, so sad.
Amanazako, Kruligan Hunter, put back in her
Yeah,
place.
put down.
I think she got nerfed pretty hard because of a couple of things, but yeah.
Yeah, and so I think we can all agree that some of these changes are probably warranted. And I actually feel like the keywords probably balanced a little bit better now because there's models that were not being played that now I'm like, cool, I feel like I can actually play a Tengu or I can play the yokai and have a good time with it.
Yeah, I mean, I did say Amanosako got nerfed, but I think that she's still good in keyword.
Yeah.
It's just like a number that like I said before we started recording. I mentioned that I'm gonna assume until I can get the numbers right that it's 50% less damage across the board.
Yeah, I think you really like her now when you want like 3 attacks. It's like, okay, I can kill this thing by hitting it 3 times, right? I think that's kind of where you're looking at it, or you could also interact with her a bunch.
I mean, Hasadus is huge now for the keyword. They
Yeah.
have basically the same strength that I have with like the Emissary and Neverborn, and just little tricks
Yeah.
here and there with Fae and Swamp Fiend.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at it, Landon, one of the big things they added was this demise where you can make these rift markers now when your Oni die, and the rift markers are now hazardous. So now I guess Oni's kind of this weird marker, ping damage going to hurt you with hazardous. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that in Thunders.
I think it's a really interesting add to the faction because I used to say a lot of the time that Thunders has a great amount of hazardous abusers, but in exchange for that, they never had anyone who really made hazardous, Maybe we got Poison Sledge from the Curator or whatever, but it wasn't the same, right? Now, you can have like Bill, right? And if Bill's standing next to Amanozako and like a Rift Marker, right? He's doing min 3 plus crit strike plus heroic intervention pings. He can be doing like a min 7 attack.
Yeah, in the right setup for sure.
Across like, 3 different instances of damage. So like it can get gross.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because Ten Thunders. I was talking to Rich about it once again, and Ten Thunders doesn't really have that marker master that can abuse markers to really make your opponent's life really miserable. So it's really cool to see Thunders finally get that. You have it kind of in Mayfang, but it's more ping damage
to an extent.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's really exciting that they kind of open that up for the faction that you're going to see a different style there.
I mean,
So,
if you take into account hazardous damage, which I am, then like certain models can potentially do just as much damage as before just because of the ping. For example, let's go back to Amanosako. Amanosako now has basically automatic. She just uses an action and has a hazardous aura around her, whereas before she had to like pass a duel, if I remember correctly.
I think she had to get a suit.
Yeah, she had to pass a duel and gain a flicker token. So like you just never took that action because it was so ridiculously expensive before. Because it also was an unsuited action. So you usually spent a stone and gained a flicker, and then still had to cheat sometimes.
Yeah.
And now it's just like it happens.
So
and not only that,
you can do that with the bonus,
used to,
right?
I think, be keyword locked to be like only Oni wouldn't take the damage. Right. Now it's just enemies
which is enormous. So what I mean by this is a trick that in Neverborn you get to do all the time is like you get to do different named hazardous, and now you can do that in Ten Thunders and Oni. So her min 3 is technically min 5 in the right situations, and the right situation happens quite a lot actually in that keyword.
Well, and I like that you can also use the trigger on the bonus to do this, so you don't have to use a regular action. You can just be like, "Cool, I got the trigger. I'm gonna, do this action now, so the aura is out," and then you can start abusing things.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting in that the trigger is only really going to happen in Asami itself
Yeah,
now, whereas before you could do it out of keyword pretty well. I mean, technically, you can make the rifts when you kill stuff now, which it might come out, but it's not something you're really going to out of keyword this model for
Yeah.
anymore.
Unless you're playing against Plague and you're killing rats left or right, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm just gonna get this thing."
yeah.
Yeah,
So
fair enough.
looking at Asami 1, she's still a summoner, but they made her like Somer, where the summoning is now simplified. So it's just stat 3 mask, and I think the mask is built in, isn't it? Or
No.
no, you need a
It
3
is
of
not.
masks.
Yeah. So I think, by the way, genius way to fix that, because we've always had that whole, oh, you need a 4 plus the cost of the
Yeah,
model or
idiots
whatever.
like me calculating it on fingers, like, okay, that's 13 plus 3, 6.
Yeah. And then now you just like,
Save us the trouble and just tell us what the number
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
yeah, so it's just now 3 plus this. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, her attack still, I think it's pretty much the same, if not exact the same. Her another mouth to feed.
Another mouth to feed, I don't believe changed. No, it's literally the same. Same triggers, same stats, same everything.
Yeah,
The front of the card changed a lot.
yeah, it did, because now her bonus creates a rift marker, which is cool. Lets her possibly draw some cards.
Mm.
The summon upgrade is different though. This is where flicker tokens got changed too, if I believe that's right, correct?
Yes, they are now
Yeah.
closer to Honeypot, because Honeypot has something similar to this.
Because don't you get like 2 and you remove 1
So
and then
no, so if you cost 6 or less, you have 1, and then you get +1 for every enemy around you to a cap of 2. If you cost more than that, you just get flickers equal to the enemies around you. So you're kind of stuck summoning the Oni in the middle of battle. So like they're
well,
gonna be
because
surrounded by people.
if you don't have a flicker though, you just die. So at the end of your activation, if
Well,
you don't have it.
So it's during the
there
end
you go.
phase now that all can go
Oh,
away.
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
If you have a flicker token, you lose one. If you don't, you die
Yeah.
in the end
So
phase.
basically, you could set it up to have a Obsidian Oni just be surrounded by enemies at the end of the turn.
Yeah, and I think also she has an upgrade that I guess every model in her keyword gets, that
Oh, it's
basically
a
if she's the leader, right? Everybody gets,
yeah.
basically they ignore rift markers and
It's the same thing as the witness keyword. In theory, they just get the upgrade to the faction, to the
the
crew. I
crew,
mean,
yep.
so yeah, it
and
in this case is rift markers don't hurt you, so you have to have Asami as a leader so that the rift
mhm.
markers don't hurt you, and then depending on which title you're playing, it does something else.
Yeah, and the first version, it looks like you can draw melee through rift markers.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't noticed that, but that means out of keyword, the Oni get hurt by any of the rift
Yeah.
markers they drop.
That's right.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty cool, to be honest. That was like very flavorful.
yeah, and I mean I like that style though too, because once again it gives you an incentive to do things in keyword.
Yeah,
And
but that
attacking through
Yeah,
those
I
rift
get you.
markers is pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, doing melee attacks through rift markers, every model for the original Asami to have that ability, it seems pretty cool. I mean, I play what's her face, Bowman, and Bowman has that ability.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can test this is freaking sweet.
Is Bowman's once per activation as well?
I believe no. I believe hers is on her weapon itself.
Okay.
But this is not bad.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely not bad. It's just important to note that, your Duraguma only gets to take one swing through this thing a turn, not 2.
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about her not having protected Oni anymore? She has extended reach.
So she got extended
Yeah.
reach, and that's, in my opinion, way better because you never
Wait.
wanted to pitch cards for protected Oni anyways.
OG Asami has protected Oni.
Yeah, the
Yes.
new one doesn't.
No, she does.
Oh, no, she does.
Well,
You're right.
it's still there.
She does. Top ability.
So
You
she
just
Yeah,
moved
has
it up the
extended.
card. It used to be at the bottom.
No, she lost Arcane Reservoir.
That's what she.
she
Well,
lost.
she didn't lose it. It got
It's on the
moved
totem
over
now.
to
Oh,
the
it got moved to the totem? Okay, gotcha.
So it's actually better because now you get it on both titles.
Yeah, that's fair.
That makes sense.
That's a good point.
Yep. Okay, so she still has that on the totem. So we just gained extended reach in exchange for Oni Soul, which is no longer relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
And after she kills a model,
we lost the charge thing too.
She can gain a soul stone if she kills a model next to a rift marker, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you about that, Landon, because losing the charge is enormous.
Yeah,
that is pretty huge.
Yeah.
Because that was definitely a big reason you would see this crew taken in 10th Thunder sometimes, because we don't really have like one of those incorporeal type crews where you just like say, I put this on the table and I don't care what the terrain is. Asami used to be that for the faction.
Yep.
And now you can still kind of do that with McCabe, although he's only going to do that with like a small handful of models. It's not going to get you through walls.
Well, what I noticed, in my opinion at least, from the play pattern that I read, it's on the title. The secondary title has basically the I ignore terrain for the entire crew. Hello? Okay.
Yep,
So basically it's because you can teleport from one rift to the other. So you kind of
and the other
that's the reason. That's why I said it's like if you look at the secondary title, you have the ability now to just teleport at free will, basically from rift to rift.
Yeah, there's like so much on the title that just places and moves and stuff. That's why like when I saw all these like triggers and like failing the shockwave duels and pushes and stuff, I was just like, this is just straight up like a ping damage. Like they're just going to mess you up with these rift markers.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
This version of it does it pretty well too. Her bonus action might say create on it, but make no mistake, the tome trigger is going to push it under you and you will take a damage.
Yeah.
So she kind of just has a flip of 4, make a model take 2 damage bonus, and that's pretty nuts.
Oh yeah, and deja vu, because why not? Because why shouldn't you guys just keep drawing cards in that faction?
Well, I said once like 3 years ago that we didn't have any card draw, and since then they've given us a lot.
They've done a good job adding that.
Absurd amount of card draw, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely good. So she's summoning. Looks like she likes to fight a little bit, which is cool. She has extended
it's neat
reach.
That we get the Soulstone rebate, though I don't know if that's going to be a healthy thing to give us on a summoner that we can set up trivially within the same activation. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you might end up with like
it is only after
stones.
this model kills an enemy, so she does have to do it herself. It's not like her crew can do it.
Yeah.
So that's helpful.
I mean, it's not like she has a 6 damage on her severe or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's not like she attacks people through the rift markers either.
Exactly. And she can't put one for a bonus action. Yeah, it's like there's too many things, and I'm just like, yeah, this seems not okay.
Yeah, and the second
it seems really strong.
Yeah, the second with Asami 2, the thing that she gives all of her models is basically if they start within one. When they start within one of a rift marker, they can basically teleport within 6 to another rift marker?
It's after they resolve an action which they end a move within 1. So it's the same as it was before. It's just you can't go off of her. You have to go through rifts, and you don't get rid of them anymore. Right. And it's a little shorter range.
Yes. Yeah. Also,
let's see if we can wrap up Asami 1 before we start going into the nuts of the title version 2.
I agree with that. I was like going
I didn't know if you guys had anything else
hour.
about Asami 1 specifically.
Well, we haven't even talked about demonic tresses. This is like a huge quality of life in a million different directions.
Yes, especially because of like the triggers are better.
So like, firstly, I liked the action it replaced a lot, reaching tendrils.
Yeah. Yep.
Even when it had a TN of 6.
Yeah.
Having no TN now is insane.
And it's against move.
Yeah, it was against defense before, now it's against move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now it has like a bunch of great triggers. One of which is just, create more hazardous rift markers, which is just nice for a number of different things.
Yep.
And like, I still don't know if you're going to use this on enemies a lot. You probably will if you have like the crows for the stuns or whatever, because that's pretty good. But like, I just wanted to call out how good no TN move someone 6 is.
Yep.
And that's just a little insane, especially when you're summoning models already within 8 inches. So like you get to summon your, Obsidian Oni, push him 6 inches, or not your Obsidian Oni anymore, but like your Joragumo, right? You push him 6 inches, and now suddenly you're engaging something that was 14 inches away, and there's probably some hazardous near him or something.
Yeah. No, dude, it's insane in every aspect. Like the action is basically strictly better than all the other movement shenanigans that she had before, except for the teleport.
Yeah, I think basically you don't do this to an enemy unless you want to, like you said, put stunned on it, or you want to use Dixon's favorite trigger with coordinated attack.
I mean,
And minor thing, but this also lost its gun action, so you can also just use it while you're engaged now to just get people out of your face and into whatever
is this
sorry,
nonsense mosh pit.
I
this is
should have
just a new
specified.
action,
That's what I
isn't it?
mean by strictly better. But yes, and this is a new. There's no model with this action. I verified it. It's just gross. It's like this is one of the reasons why I love the Kurgan, and the Kurgan needs a 5, and this she doesn't need anything.
No TN,
Yeah.
dude. It's
Black
so
Joker goes
times.
off.
Also, this is huge, and it's very easy to miss. They added the words "up to" before you had to go the full 6.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. I agree with that.
It's strictly better. Like literally,
and it was already good.
Yeah, it was great
I
before.
apologize for trying to skip over this because Landon's really excited about it.
Bro, like she is
it's
insanely good. It's just like I saw the things that they removed, and I was like, okay, so what did they give her? And I started looking around. I was like, oh, it's pretty good, actually.
The only less interesting, probably going to be the thing that people talk about for ages, even though it's only 1 point difference. They made her summoning slightly easier. You get Joros for a 12 now.
Yep. I mean, that's actually problematic because I was counting on hopefully they don't have a 13 in hand, and now it's like, well, shit.
Oh, you found it.
Twice as likely that they can make a Joro.
Yeah, exactly. So gross.
All right.
I'm good to move
Anything
on
else
now,
with
but
the creepy walking version of her?
No,
I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right. So on to the title, who's all about the placing.
Yeet.
So this thing is absolutely insane.
I'm so excited.
And I'll tell you why. A Mother's Love is just so powerful with all of the tanky models in this crew.
Yeah.
It's any of your keyword models to begin with, right?
Yeah.
And
we
start looking at within 8, yeah. And we start looking at things like the Obsidian Oni already come with armor 1. Now you can reduce that to 2 to take, 0 damage on your 3 damage hits.
Yeah.
The story of Suzaku had the burning thing where he could reduce burning to take 2 less damage. Add this on it. Now you're reducing by 4 damage to 0.
Yes. Huge.
And, Asami takes the damage instead, but she has this bonus to just heal for 4 points of damage, which is pretty insane.
It's even better because she can
5 points of damage. I'm sorry.
Well, that's only if she removes the maximum and stuff. But
sorry, no.
But what I'm talking about is Mother's Love is not irreducible damage.
Yeah, that too.
That is enormous.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Nope.
That is enormous. Because you can basically now everybody has stones well within 8 inches of her.
Yep. And so just like we can talk about it when we talk about like Joragumo for example, but like when you got like these hard to wound, you can even make them hard to kill with the upgrade models that you can reduce by up to 2 damage on. Like that means you need to do a min 3 to hit these things to hard to kill usually.
Yep.
And then they're at hard to kill, right? Not to mention the amount of damage you had to do to get them there. And then this crew just has insane healing on a bunch of the other stuff we're going to see later. On top of this model itself just being like, oops, I heal 4 for a bonus.
Yeah. Well, she also seems to have lost like her 1 defensive measure, which was like she had shielded before. So she has like nothing now. She is just defense 5, willpower 7, and a prayer.
Okay,
so, yeah.
I mean,
well, you say that,
take the hit, you'll be fine.
The prayer is going to be that you drop rift markers into base contact with people that are hitting you.
That's fair.
Oh yeah, I'm
so
not
that,
disagreeing with
if
you.
they're going on you and they're hitting you twice, they're dropping rift markers, they're taking damage, you're just eating those rift markers and healing back up.
Yep. Yep.
I agree that if you can find a way to productively dive
There
this
you
model,
go.
you're going to have a bad time.
Yes, that specifically
Um,
is the way to play her against her now. Is that you have to dive Asami too.
Yeah,
You
but
have to.
if you look at it though, she's going to be playing a little further back than the first version, right? Because I mean, it's not too far back, but it's you're going to be in that 8-inch range because she has these 8-inch range attack actions. Pretty much everything's 8 inches, right? Even her
Hmm.
mother's love.
mhm.
Yes.
So you're going to have to go through some of her tougher models to get to her, and you're playing 10 Thunder, so you have like two of the best take the hit models in the game,
Yep.
probably.
Yep. That's the reason.
And a fair amount of extended
Yeah,
reach.
that
Yes,
too.
there you go. Because that's the reason why I was like, I think that she's great. I think probably like we're definitely gonna see a lot more of her now.
I think so.
But she's not like OP. I was looking around. I was like, yeah, she lost all defensive measures. She is now. You have to be good at positioning to play her.
Yeah, that's a good call out.
I do like that she gives fast to models and probably focused as well or healing with that one action. What is it? Oni strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
No, she's a great support model for the rest of her keyword at this point in time, and I think with some of the changes they made to the rest of the keyword, it's now a keyword worth kind of trying to support.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like it a lot.
what do you guys think of that Into the Beyond shockwave? I kind of like that a lot. That's like Sandeep vibes right there.
I mean,
I think
honestly,
it's the same shockwave it used to be, just with actual or one more trigger, which is
yeah.
nice.
I
I don't know that I love it for
I,
AP
I
though.
was gonna say is like when you used to play her before, that was like the least interesting thing in her card, to
Well,
be perfectly honest.
but the markers weren't hazardous though, so you can.
They were.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they were.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Pete just doesn't
Yeah.
know how to read.
No, you just didn't play Asami 2 to test her
That's true.
out.
I did not. I have not
Yeah,
ever.
I did. I played her just to see what it was, how bad she was. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty terrible. And then now they give us this version that's like support master galore. And I actually am very excited about it.
Yeah, I still don't know that I'm ever trying to use Into Beyond to drop rift markers, especially with all the other options we have in keyword now to do it.
Yep.
I think usually what you're doing with this model is, you might drop Into the Beyond if you need to make one rift marker to heal off your bonus, but you really shouldn't have to do that.
I mean, look at all
You're
this
probably going to be
beautiful
dropping
unpainted
Spiritual
Oni
Invasion
that
about.
need to get playing now.
Yeah.
Dude, you're going to get a lot of good value. Like, all of the minions are great.
Yeah.
I actually like all of them. The only thing that you have to adjust is damage. They are not going to be the huge damage dealers that they were before. You have to play around with terrain now.
So do you guys think then an activation for Asami 2 is probably like I'm going to maybe put fast on a marker, I'm going to heal some stuff up, maybe put some focus out, and then I'm going to do spiritual invasion, try and put either stunned or injured on a model?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what you'll do. You'll put stunned or injured out as many times as you need to, then make someone fast. In the later turns. In the early turns, you'll probably make one or two guys
Yeah.
fast. But you guys don't really want to run too far away from your master,
Yeah.
as you're really playing this version, I think, over the other version because you're trying to get abuse out of that mother's
Yeah.
love.
Oh yeah. You're gonna make a
That's just a
lot.
wonderful sentence to say.
Dude, Mother's Love is basically gonna make or break a lot of people's crews, because if they don't have a way to actually go alpha her, she can just tank you up.
Well, either that or you'll have to basically kidnap a model out of it, right? And then beat it to
Yeah.
death before you can actually put serious damage into it.
That's right.
That's fair if you can get through the willpower of it. The Oni.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. Any other things about the title before we look at some of these other models?
Oh, the upgrade for the title. We talked about it before, but it's effectively, to all the listeners, it's like a leap that you get after you end a move within 1 inch of a rift marker.
Yeah,
You have to have
this
another
actually
rift
And
marker.
that, yeah.
it reminds me of Ivan's kind of reading Rainbow, where you can jump from shadow marker to shadow marker, right?
Correct. So
That's what it
it's a
reminds me of.
leap.
I think
Yeah.
people have called it, ride the rails at home,
Yeah.
There
because
you go.
it's a lot like that.
That's
Slightly better
yeah.
because you get to do it, while you're walking as opposed to as a walk. It is after this model.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you obey the Oni, it will get the ability to do that play still.
Yes. Also, you can charge, teleport, and then attack because that's how the
Correct,
timing
yes.
works.
Interesting.
Yeah, because timing,
The shenanigans are real with this version.
generated actions are always whatchamacallit, triggered basically at the very end of all the other effects.
Yeah, she could do that too in the old version as well. It was a very important trick for getting any mallets out of that title.
So I do want to then, I'm just going to I'm scrolling down on the page for those of you that are listening and following along. So we're just going to kind of
So
go.
Minako would be next.
Yep. Yeah. So we're looking at Minako and the Katashiro that she can summon. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think because you guys said that she might see more play in a lot of keywords.
Yeah, Katashiro
so
got
why do you
better.
guys think that?
All right, so I'm going to take you back to your childhood youth. You know, you're playing around, you know, and you've got this wonderful flat surface. It's black, you know, and you've never seen it before. It's really shiny, and one part of it gets really glowy red, and then you touch it once, and it hurts like hell. And you learn that's a stove. You don't touch the stove. That's a bad idea.
Okay.
And Minako Ray used to be a lot like that because when you hit Minako Ray, you missed and you got the Karmic Ties upgrade, and then you died and turned into a flaming hot Nuno. Now, she's not a stove. She's like a portable oven that is driving at you at 60 miles an hour with this instigate trigger because they added this enemy only trigger to her melee attack that says after resolving, so this happens whether you hit or miss, you firstly draw a card and then the enemy has to take a claw action targeting you. And the thing about this is you can still declare your defense trigger. The opposing model can't declare any of their triggers.
That is, I saw that and I was like, okay,
I don't see that.
Brother, I'm telling you
And
right
so,
now,
like,
I don't know why they buffed her, but there's a couple of people that are going to be super fucking happy.
Well, they buffed her because they wanted to make the Katashiro worse and wanted to make sure people still played the model. But I think this was not the way to go about it, or if it was...
Landon's like, this is not okay.
No, the thing is, I don't think that they make Katashiro worse, because, like, you didn't get the Katashiro for the damage. You got the Katashiro
they made
because...
Katashiro different.
Yeah.
I can agree with you in some parts there. It definitely is worse at what it used to do.
I forgot also that the leap is not suited. So you're right. You are right. They are worse.
It's also significantly less.
Yeah, you have to flip a card
and it has a TN.
Before it was just blown by the wind and you're gone.
Yeah, I forgot about that. You're right.
They also made the to create the Katashiro, it's also a bonus action now, so you can't make two just turn one.
Yeah.
Unless you're
easier.
If you're playing Sensei U, I think you still can. Or is that monk only?
It's not Sensei U, it's if you're playing Amano Zako, you can do
it. Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to have like 3 rift markers to make that work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Before you could do it by obey. No, you could not do it for obey. Yeah, no. You just could do it 3 times, see if she had fast. I'm sorry.
Or with, once again, the what do you call it? The Amanozako trick.
Yeah, correct.
But so I'm pretty much just insanely, looking at this instigate trigger and going, why does it say draw a card? Why does it say after resolving? If you took away both of those, I think this trigger would still be good.
Dude, it's kind of funny because I definitely see somebody like that's not been using Soulstone just use a Soulstone to do the trigger. Be like, all right.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's like you don't even need the low tome. It always works if you just spend a
spell.
And then you have, also automatically have the built-in irreducible damage trigger. So you put it on somebody, and then the next attack, it's like, oh, this is irreducible.
Well, yeah, for sure. I'm actually going to love playing this model in Yoko now because you get to guarantee you have the 13 tomes to actually hit them with the instigate trigger.
Right.
You don't even need to hit, but if you can hit your charge through attack, that's still a straight damage flip you get. Then you get to put the upgrade on them because you have the guaranteed 13 to make sure they miss if you need it. And then you just get to hit them again with focus on your irreducible attack.
Sounds good.
Seems reasonable.
Hey, listen,
Like,
I'm playing a lot of Monk right now, and this still looks really good in Monk, so I'm okay with it.
I'm
yeah,
just baffled that they buffed the mon. I know the logic. I know the logic. I just think that's just a dumb logic right now.
So, would you guys? So, I think I'm kind of leaning towards maybe a buff. It's at least. I think it's at least as good as it was. Besides, obviously, summoning a bunch of Katashiro really quick. But the Katashiro, it's a nerf, but it's not a terrible nerf. Like I'll still summon these because they're solid.
Yeah,
But they have Blade Rush. I really like having Blade Rush.
yeah. No, I mean,
I definitely think that she got better overall.
yeah, they
Yeah.
still have Made to Kill, which is pretty cool. Blade Rush gaining, it's freaking sweet, and paper cuts is sweet, but like, yeah, no, it's just weird. Okay, I'm just like looking at this, and I'm like, they have a very bad leap.
Yeah.
It's only 3 inches, and you have to have a 4 of mask.
Yeah, they're definitely way worse at scheming than they used to
Yeah.
be. That I can agree to.
Which I think's fair though.
I mean,
I
they're.
don't know that they actually got much worse at damage because they're min 2 now, and you used to have to hit mod for that.
That was what I was gonna ask you. Is like the melee attack forces people to remove scheme markers, so
Yeah, you just don't gain the flicker anymore with that trigger it used to have.
right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
So like,
weird.
I actually think it's arguable that Katashiro got better too if you were using them for damage.
Correct.
I think they definitely got worse if you were just, summoning 2 Katashiro and saying these will score my schemes, and I have, 42 point or 50 points to figure out the rest of the game. Which is my opinion why they were problematic before.
I agree.
Not necessarily for their combat abilities. So I can see changing their direction.
Yeah,
But
especially in like Cloak and Dagger, dude, because they would just blow by the wind, steal like your tokens, and then swing on you if they had an AP left. It was good.
Tom's like chew up those pass hookers. I was like, that was like the least of our worries, really. Like they were so good that even if you killed them, then they just get summoned again. It was a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's saying that now they've got the demise where if they killed you before you activated, there's literally no downside. They just have to pass it or pitch a pass token, and then
Oh,
you're not down in activation.
that's right.
Which I think they've been doing with a lot of the cheap summons. I don't know if I love that gameplay, to be honest, because I think getting the activation control via target priority is a pretty important and cool skill that you can develop playing 3rd edition.
I
But
mean,
it's the direction they want to take it.
I do. I gotta admit though, in Big Hat, after I played it, if they didn't have that, it wouldn't work. So maybe when they were doing testing, it was the same with the Katashiro. It's like it's not worth to even summon them because if they die, I'm losing the game hard.
I feel like at least in the current gaining rounds, you don't get punished super hard for not having last activation.
I think the Katashiro lost a couple of hit points too because now they only have 3. I think they were 5,
lost
weren't
1.
they?
Yeah, I think they were 4
Okay.
before, was it?
Let me double check, but I'm pretty
they
sure
might have been 5.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
They were 5 hit points before because they cost 5.
Okay. I mean, is there any keyword that you guys think couldn't use Minako right now, or you think it's like, no, she's pretty solid. You could pretty much put her where you want her.
I mean,
I think there's a couple places I wouldn't take her. It's also important to note, we glossed over this, but the Katashiro are no longer constructs, and Minako's no longer living, so they don't drop stuff on death.
Oh my god, I didn't notice that. Holy crap.
Interesting.
Yeah, so when your Katashiro dies, it doesn't just leave you a present to make another Katashiro. I mean,
it does because it has a rift marker you can use.
But it doesn't leave both of those.
Okay.
It's not a corpse candle.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting. I'm going to be curious to see. But see, I'm okay with this though. That if you guys want to call it a buff, we can. But I'm okay with it because even if you call it a nerf, I think it's fair and it's still playable, which is the big thing. It's still good. And because I know a bunch of people bought this box specifically because it was good. I mean, Weird sold out of it and they only restocked it like, I think last week or so. So I'm glad people didn't buy these and they're unplayable.
I was going to point that out. I was going to point out that right now, Banying, her, and Sensei Yu are just getting overplayed outside of keyword all the time. And I know that she's a versatile model, but come on, this is getting ridiculous. Same 3 models regardless of keyword.
All right, let's get into the rest of the keyword. So let's just kind of, I mean, we're looking at all the different minions. We got the totem. Apparently, Oni got a new henchman. I didn't know they had a henchman. This
Wow.
girl,
They had two of them.
Oguro Batari,
Betty.
that was a thing, and it has a bonus now.
I just call her Betty and Sako. Betty and Sako are great now, but Betty was not used at all, basically, except for like a couple of people.
Hot take, still not going to be used. I think they did a much better job improving Betty. I don't think I'm paying 8 points for Betty still.
Tracking.
Okay.
Oh,
I'll give it a fair shake. I don't know enough about how she was to know how much better or worse it is.
It's a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah. It is a lot better. It's just not. I don't think. I mean, unnerving presence is the only thing that I would say is like maybe you should look into this. Blah blah blah. And it's There's you guys got an upgrade, so you don't even need that.
So like the important part this model does and why you might take it in the new Oni is that you get to make rift markers while luring your guys for 5.
Oh.
So like she's just another, I won't call it cheap at 8 points, but it's not your master AP making rift markers. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Um
Hunting song. I completely missed the make a rift marker. I thought it was like a lure.
yeah, it's importantly a drop a rift marker in base contact with the target too, so you get to put it under whatever you lured.
Yep.
So if it's an enemy you're luring, they're now in hazardous terrain, they have to deal with that. And it has some pretty good triggers on it too. But like if you aren't finding a way to make hunting song useful, this model's still not worth it, not hiring a Jiragumo.
Yeah. So I'll tell you guys the two. So obviously, we'll probably get into some of these minions and just how they changed. But the two models that I am really excited about is one, I'm happy that the Tengu seems like a model that I'm going to bring to Scheme because they have stealth and they have a suited leap. And yeah, they're pretty fast. They're move 6. But I also didn't know that the what is that? Kamaitachi?
Kamataichi.
Yeah, that thing. I didn't know that was a model. And then I looked and I was like, holy crap, I have one.
Yeah, the Wonder Weasel.
Oh man, you have one.
I don't
Those
know.
are really
Yeah,
rare.
it was a model you brought against Riva sometimes, but it wasn't like a model outside of that situation.
It used to like draw you cards if enemies were summoning models.
Yeah. It looks playable to me, so I'll give it a try, but I'm like, hey,
Now it's really good.
this looks I figured it has to be decent when they say you can't bring it out of keyword.
Specifically, yeah.
I mean, I could summarize rather unfairly, blah, 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 discard up to 2 cards and draw an equal number of cards for a bonus.
Yeah.
And I'd be missing a lot of text on there and it would still be
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a
he's not
healer,
wrong.
right? So it can heal up your stuff as well. And there was one
Yep.
more thing. Oh, it has Eye of the Hurricane.
That
Yep.
I was gonna say is like they just gain a stupid piece of tech with that.
Yeah.
Oni now can just choose to screw things like Pandora and stuff like that. It's so frustrating.
Nobody feels bad for you.
Screw you guys. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's more keywords that ability screws over, but like I can't think
Yeah.
of any right now.
Yeah. So I was excited
It
for
also
those
just
two.
gives you a little bit of extra unpack with his Dust Devil because you can push models up to 2 in any direction from the dropped Shockwave, which you cannot use anymore to enter rifts because you have to resolve actions to go through dimensional rifts. Before, I think you just had to resolve moves. That's an important detail we glossed over.
Okay.
But it's a neat thing for your 5-point model to be able to just push people off of stash markers or whatever.
Oh, now that you said a 4-point model, I wanted to point out we skip Amanjaku. I think we should like look into that in a second. But yeah, Kamaitachi.
We can go to them now. I was just excited for those two, so I jumped the gun.
Dude. Yeah, no, I get it, but like Kamaitachi is just dumb for a cheap model, in my opinion. But yeah. Going to Jack. Jack is.
I don't know if I would say Kamaitachi is super dumb. It's very killable for 5 points.
I don't disagree.
Its only defensive is Eye of the Hurricane, and it has the job of Wonder Weasel, but like outside Wonder Weasel, I think it's very much a 5-point
I
model.
just hate the fact that he's whatchamacallit, a significant model that doesn't need to be anywhere near the front line.
Oh yeah, you can just drop a scheme marker and walk with him every turn of the game while using Wonder Weasel, and he feels real
Probably
good for
should
5
be
points.
insignificant, but he's not, so sweet.
I'm so upset. Anyway, but like that being said,
Looking at
Jack. So yeah, Jack is kind of weird because
Jack is also significant now.
Yes,
he
he
didn't used to be.
is.
that because I now there's a reason to kill him. Is the reason
Oh,
why I
yeah.
want to talk about him. Now
There's a reason to kill him before.
Was there? I don't remember.
Yes. So like if you killed, firstly he used to strip off flicker tokens.
right.
He still has that job here of making your summons last longer
Okay.
or hit harder. But before he also just became this unkillable god machine if you killed Asami before you killed him.
Right.
And that was a pretty strong incentive to kill him.
Yeah, but she was so hard to kill that like, because like the thing is like you would leave her at like maybe 1 or 2 health, and then she would just activate and eat all the markers around her and go back to full. It was very It was like a
if you failed to kill her.
That's my point. It was just because like she between protected Oni and like good management of like your resources, it was kind of hard to pin her down.
Well, and now it's not only that he's significant, but now he has the arcane reservoir, right? So
Right.
that's another reason to target him.
Yeah, that's 100% the reason why. So it's like now there's a reason to kill him. Like you can bet that people are going to be hunting down this guy just to strip that card out of your hand.
And it puts out focus and adds a flicker now instead of taking it away.
I think he always gave out focus, but now I think he does it for.
No, he never gave out focus before, but he used to take away flicker, which was very much like giving out focus.
Yeah. Asami used to remove flicker to put a focus. I remember somebody doing it.
Yeah, Asami did that.
Yeah, the original one.
She doesn't do that anymore, though.
Okay, gotcha.
So the summoning version doesn't put out focus anymore. It doesn't support your crew anywhere near as well as it used to, but it still is good at all of the things that it's good at. We talked about earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Also,
now
he's able to slide those rift markers around as well.
He's able to make the rift markers, which I think is what he's going to be doing with basically all of his AP every turn.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he can just spit 2 of those out of turn.
Yeah, create 2.
So, like, even if you're not cheating it, I think you just flip twice to see if you get rift markers or don't. Because like in Asami 2, someone has to walk up there and make the rift markers so that you can teleport. Yeah. And if you can do it with your totem, who only needs a card 1 point better than your master, I'm doing that. I'm not spending my master AP.
Yeah, I mean he needs a 6, but there's enough card draw now in the keyword that it's not a problem.
Yeah, it's important that he creates them rather than dropping them. So, like, the advantage you have to doing it with your master over the totem is that you can put it underneath enemies. But the funny thing about dropping terrain that you want on the board near people is that it's destructible. So if you're like aggressively putting these rift markers out, you put it underneath a guy, they just activate, get rid of it, and then you're like, huh, I wanted to teleport to that. Well, crap.
Yeah.
Now I can't.
But now you have Jack just making destructible hazardous rift markers and then pushing them underneath people. By the way, automatically taking 1 point of damage from a totem is gonna frustrate a lot of people. I know from experience.
Oh, for sure. From 12 or from 10 inches away too. 10 to 11 inches. Yep. Like he does not have to get all that close to do what he needs to do, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Just hide behind a wall or a building or something, and then just keep spitting them out and pushing them around.
Yeah, just looking around the corner and then push.
Can we agree that the Akaname is probably better for Brewmaster?
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out if I like him or not because I miss his tongue attack. It used to be against movement.
Yeah, I think the big thing I liked about the Akaname is that when he dies, he puts out a sludge marker.
Okay, that's pretty funny. And yes.
So that helps with a lot of the poison buildup that you can
Landon, the curator, that he drops a sludge marker is the same thing with the Akaname now.
Well, they can die to put it out. I don't think they have an action.
Yeah, it's dying.
Yeah. He also has marker removal, which I think is a lot more important for a 4-point model. He just removes the marker and gets poison 3, which is probably the more important thing in his card. But you're right.
he used to gain like a flicker to gain poison or something stupid like that.
So he used to gain a flicker token to just drop a scheme,
Yeah.
which was important because you could summon 2 of these things and just drop 2 scheme markers for like a 12. And it was like, how did you just get 2 scheme markers into my backline again for breakthrough and
Man,
score it
you
with summon
you can
models?
tell Landon had the Asami reps because I wouldn't have even have thought of that.
That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah, that was a
funny.
huge thing you would do. It's like, Hucksters, no, I just brought my master. Here's 2 summon Akaname on your model that had
Yeah.
activated like 18 inches across the board.
Mm.
I dropped my 2 scheme markers, and now I've got, Ensnare or whatever it is. So losing that ability from Asami 1 is actually a huge hit
Okay, that's
to her
fair.
scheming potential.
Beard pointed out
So
the shockwave also is pretty good with the just take 2 poison.
amazing for
Yeah, that's what
Brewmaster
I'm
because you
saying.
just relent it now. So I think these guys are a lot worse for Asami.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ever going to even bother to summon these guys unless you need the marker removal.
That's
Yep.
It's
literally
nice
it.
to be able to summon in the marker removal, though.
Yeah.
Brewmaster buff.
That's the reason why I wanted to ask you about it, because of like I think the only thing of his card that you care about specifically is the marker removal.
Yeah, I mean, the built-in Grabadon for the Rancid Tongue's kind of neat to just target people with these things, but let's be real here. If you have the 12 or the 11 to summon an 8-point model, like, you're probably not summoning 2 of these guys anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next 2 up, we have the Amanozako and the Joragumo. So obviously, you can't get Flicker to spike into your sexy damage with the Zako, but still pretty solid. Like, I don't think it's a terrible model.
I still want
I
to.
think this is the model most affected by that change.
Yes, but I wanted to say it's still not something to ignore that she has a different hazardous aura name. And by experience, I can tell you that difference in names makes it gross, because it just multiple ping damage are going to start happening in this crew because of her.
Oh, agreed. You get, this model in a crew, and you get the bird in a crew, and then suddenly the bird's hitting for like min 4.
There you go.
Min 5 even.
Yeah.
With 2 hazardous pings, a smolder ping, and then a damage flip.
Oh yeah, people are going to be running away from Amanozako more than trying to kill her.
Maybe Weird was playing the long game with the bird. Maybe the story of Suzuki or whatever it is, Suzaku. Yeah, that thing.
Exactly.
Maybe they were like, you want to know what? It doesn't look good yet, but wait until the rework. You guys are going to love it.
Man, I don't get it. That model was great when the games that I saw it played. It just people. You're right. People didn't, for some reason, they prefer the Monkey King.
Yeah, but with all the hazards,
it's Kairos, right? It's just Kairos in like a bird costume.
She's cosplaying.
Yeah. It's an 8-point Kairos.
She's a furry, feathery thing. I don't know.
I mean, I don't disagree. It's an 8-point Kairos. That's exactly what it is, and I think that's a good model.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little awkward now because she kills your summons rather than making your summons not die. Yeah. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but they don't seem to have addressed it. But you can still end conditions, so you can end like focus or like any of the negative conditions, obviously, or like burning if you had burning.
Okay.
So it's not impossible to get burning on this thing, as like some people are probably going to assert it is, because like I don't know if you really care if you strip focus from Mama's like Jack or someone, but just a little awkward.
Yeah, and I think when I look at the Jorgumo, I have 2.
I'm happy what they did with this.
Well, I have 2 questions. One, is it still kind of like your go-to summon generally with the first version? And then 2, is this still going to see play in like a McCabe list?
I think yes and yes.
I mean, he's a tank now for McCabe, so my answer as well would be yes, and I even play the faction. I'm just expecting this fucking thing across the table.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I think it got better in McCabe.
Yeah.
I think it got it's the same as a summon, and it's better in McCabe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think generally speaking, it just got buffed all around, aside from the flicker token nerf, which is a pretty huge thing for the for Asami's crew and a less huge thing for McCabe.
Oh, but Landon, it doesn't have Herald. Whatever shall we do?
Oh no, I just get to push it for a checks notes, any card.
Dude is so. Oh my god. Oh my god. I heard that and I'm like, that's negligible. He doesn't have a herald.
I am still a little miffed on just like a mild flavor note that it didn't get unimpeded when we reworked it, because now it's still a spider that gets slowed down by webs.
Okay, I understand.
And that ticks me
Checks
off.
out.
Yeah, I mean that is a flavor. It's like a slight flavor fail, I guess.
I mean, it has these huge spider legs. You would think it could get around pretty good, right?
Right. So like I don't know. I get that I don't get to ask for even more OP than I already had, but mild flavor fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
the glaive's still good too.
By the way, he got a new trigger on Frightening Reminder, which is pretty dang good, to be honest.
Reposition. I didn't see that. That's quite nice.
Yeah, it is.
Getting shielded.
No, it's a reposition on his Frightening
Reminder.
Oh,
Frightening Reminder. Oh, sorry, I was looking at Mark of Vengeance.
Another 3. And Low Mass used to be on a premium with Amonozako, and they still kind of are, but I feel like you're going to take that trigger a lot less than you used to in Amonozako, so like maybe the reposition's easier to cheat for now than it used to be.
Overall.
Also important, they flipped around the triggers on Glaive. You still use all the same cards, but Bloody Fate's just so much better than War Eternal because you don't have to draw or cheat a card to get it. And then Pick the Bones is a really neat sort of trigger to go. Like losing the slow hurts for when you were sending these guys against the hard targets, because slow is a way they survive the melee exchange on their 9 wounds, no reductions. But Pick the Bones just makes them much better at killing like the tiny stuff and then still getting incremental value, especially in this GG. So I really like the change.
I was gonna say with Mother's Love and the fact that they have Heart of Wound, from experience I can say Pick the Bones is much better. I haven't even tested this model, but I played a crap load of games with Return, and Pick the Bones is literally my favorite trigger in that entire keyword, and it's on the 9-point Cavern Nephilim models.
Well, yeah, because you just park next to the like ballots or something, you kill something, and then, hey, I got the crow trigger. I'm gonna go ahead and vote once.
Yeah, or do schemes like, I need to do information overload, kill a model, drop a scheme marker.
Yeah, good value.
And the thing is that like with the ability to attack through rifts, right? You take a focus, you charge, you pick any rift that's in the right spot for your scheme, assuming there's an enemy there, and now you've got like dead guys, and this is going to get maybe a little bit in the hole, right? But we discussed this timing in the MWS series channel a little while ago. But after killing triggers, resolve before you drop the corpse and score deathbeds. So now if you have like deathbeds on your rift marker, you get to take this Pick the Bones trigger, drop the scheme marker, then the model dies and you score deathbeds.
Are you kidding me?
Nice.
Is that a thing?
I'm not kidding you. Lord Cooper does this too. You get to shoot them with the like Trophy Hunter or the one bio model. You get to shoot them with Trophy Hunter, drop the scheme marker, and so long as the marker that you took for deathbeds is nearby, you can score the thing.
That's awesome.
So like, this was just like tailor made for that interaction. I don't know if Weird thought about that with the rift markers in the Sami one being able to attack through those, kill a guy, drop scheme, and then score your deathbed's rift marker, but it's a thing you can do, and it's really good.
I mean, if I remember correctly, a while ago, they do talk to the guys in the MWS. It's not like they mess with the MWS, but they do talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was like a conversation we had like 2 weeks ago, so maybe that's why it came up. But
gotcha.
Fair. All right, scooting down the list here. Lady Yume, she pretty much looks the same, except for when she activates ability is now get rid of a rift marker to draw a card.
So
I'd say she's significantly different because Warp the Veil is once per turn, and you don't have a good way to trigger it anymore.
Oh man, I did not catch
almost
that.
entirely trash garbage now.
I don't think about garbage, but definitely
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, definitely got worse
once per turn. What? I would rather see instead of doing that. I'd rather just give her a new ability. Like I think that's pretty much just useless.
I mean,
but it sees one more card. Like if there's any model I think just straight got nerfed and is not worth playing out of this errata, I think it's Lady Yume. But I also was pretty down.
Do you know how much time I spent assembling that model?
too much if I can see all those spindly appendages.
Dude, I didn't know which arms went on which part of the body. I'm pretty sure she's got left arms on right side and vice versa.
He doesn't know his right from his left.
I'm like, which one's the thumb? Well, some of them is like a lobster claw, so you don't really even know. And it's like, I don't know.
Well,
there are no accidents. There are no mistakes. Only happy little accidents with Lady.
But yeah,
paint her like a tree.
Her overall, she got worse. Is unfortunate because she was fine before, but she was like a hard to play pick for like newer players. So now she's even harder and worse.
Well, it's funny because like you look at the back of the card, and the back of the card's entirely unchanged. You go, oh, this model didn't change.
Right.
And then you realize that the back of the card is not why people hired this model.
Yeah. And I don't think she's a bad model.
When you activated Yume, you wanted the card, and then you're like, okay, what can I best use this activation? And a lot of times that was probably just putting injured on a model and maybe doing her coil around prey or something. But yeah, you were mostly using her as like, cool, we're going to just look at these cards and discard crappy cards.
Basically,
my other
draw a card,
minor
set up, and put injured on something and stun.
The only way I would like the new version of Warp the Veil is if it was like they got rid of non-Joker and just said, like, if you see the black, you can discard it. Like, that would have made that okay, I think.
What was that, Landon?
That'd be pretty warping. But I was going to say the only other minor complaint I have is you no longer have a reason to consume Asami and make make Jack, super powered. I loved doing that play before. It's like, all right, it's turn 5. I've already activated Asami. I'm just going to eat Asami, and now Jack's going to go punch something for like 12 million damage.
That's too funny.
That's pretty funny. Also, he's like impossible to kill at that level. That's crazy.
Yeah. So sad I don't have a reason to do that anymore because I don't know what else you use the consume bonus for on this model.
Yeah, that upgrade completely disappeared.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that bit of flavor.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, we already talked a little bit about Tengu and Betty. I don't know if you guys want to add anything else, but Tengu looks like a perfectly fine schemer, and Betty probably has some play. I wish they would have given Betty something else besides I've got your back, but that's fine, I guess.
I mean, Tengu basically are just strictly better.
Kind of weird that they just made Silurids and then, wrote Tengu on the card.
Yeah. They're like a cheaper, better version of Silurids without butterfly jump, and I still think that they're better. The reason why I say that they're better, to clarify,
they got 1 point more expensive, and that's I think my only hang up as to why I liked the old Tengu a little bit better. But I don't think these are bad by any stretch.
Yeah.
Like, you'll hire these.
Oh, to specify to the listeners why I think that he's better is because he has flight. And leap, flight, and that's it. He doesn't need to do a lot of damage. Just he has stealth, he has leap, he has flight, and movement 6. I think that's for 5 points. That's insane.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue these things aren't amazing at scoring points because they are. And people pay 6 points for Silurids and Zereta. Now you pay 6 points for a Silurid out of keyword in 10 Thunders.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's so dumb.
And I like the little bird models; they're cute. I like them.
Yeah. They lost Dark Bargain, which does merit mentioning.
I'll trade Leap for that.
Yeah, but I'll trade. Yeah, exactly. I'll trade Leap for that any day.
And then we have the Yokai and the Obsidian. I haven't looked at these two cards at all, so I can't even tell you guys what they do. So I'm going to let you guys sell them on me or trash them.
Yokai is great. They went to defense 6 hard to kill for a 6-point model. That's good. And then after an enemy model ends its activation within 6, you just move up to 1, which will often disengage your model.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to pin these things down, and it's really hard to kill these things. And it's pretty cool that they made the model that comes in the starter box actually playable, because I don't know that you ever used Yokai from second to now.
I know that people used Yokai in that janky Asami 2 list where you could remove Flicker a bunch of times and they went crazy bananas and placing and all sorts of nonsense, but it was kind of a meat.
Yeah,
it was
that
kind
was
of
really
a
good for symbols.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Oh, T like
because they died
yeah,
afterwards.
T like is mentioning Twitchy on the model. I think it's cute, but like Twitchy is the two things that are huge on this model is defense 6 hard to kill on a 6-point model. Kind of makes
And it
up
has
for
Dark
like
Bargain too.
yeah.
Well, Twitchy, I think, is why it's really important to me that these things are hard to engage. Like, it's why it works as a scheme runner, as an alternative to the Tengu.
Mm,
Because if they don't like base to base your model, a lot of models you just push directly out and then you go do your scheming as you were going to.
okay. And Wonder Earth is not a better choice in your opinion?
Wonder Earth costs an AP, right? Whereas Twitchy you just get for free
Yeah.
after they're done going.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're just valuing the extra free movement in between. I was just talking about like dropping rift markers and teleporting seems to be really, really, really strong.
Oh yeah, because you can still
Yeah, it's
interact
pretty good.
twice even after doing that.
Yep. No, these things are really hard to pin down now, and they're really difficult to put down. And can I just say that, hard to kill plus, Asami 2, where you have the,
That's so gross.
modal reduction, just means these things will take so many hits to put down, because if you hit it for 2, you did 0
Dude, he
damage.
puts out his own leap rift marker thingy for Asami too.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's like he can drop
So good.
one, teleport to another one, and keep going because why not?
Oh good.
So no, I think you'll definitely play
I have
these
a
Yeah.
things
couple. I
now.
have a couple of yokai. I'm happy. I was like, wait, do I not have these models?
Yeah. Oh, actually, now that I
It's
think
also
about it,
worth noting that these things actually do not unreasonable damage at stat 5 with plus
right?
flips. They're kind of like, I'm not going to actually compare this thing to Hinamatsu, right? Because it's not Hinamatsu, but like stat 6 with a plus flip for a 2-3-4, stat 5 for a plus flip with a 2-3-4. We're missing something, but it's not a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah. I just thought about something with Twitchy that I completely bypassed. You can Twitchy with Asami too and teleport. So you can.
No, because after actions you
Yeah,
teleport.
I thought it
it's
was
not
after
new.
movement.
Nope.
That's old Asami 2. New Asami 2, you have to spend an
Yeah,
action.
Oh, I must
that'd
have
be
missed
fun
that.
though.
Yeah.
So what do Oni do? What did the Obsidian Oni do now? Because they don't have
Heal.
their demise to blow up.
These are what I think actually make Asami 2 as insanely strong as I think she
Okay.
is that they changed their weird gun thing from being a weird gun thing to being A, no longer a gun, B, stat 6, and C, one of those instead of damaging blah blah blah, you heal.
Hmm.
And it has blast on every damage track. So it's 1 blast, 3 blast, 4 blast, and gain stunned. And then, friendly Onis that would get damaged instead heal.
And that's built in too.
And that's built in.
So
So
Oni that get directly hit by this do get stunned, but they also heal too. It's not bad.
correct.
Yeah, if you get touched by
Yeah.
the blast, you get to heal instead. Okay, I
Well, the target suffers the damage and
Yeah,
stun.
the target
yeah.
suffers the damage
So
Nah.
and
if you just
stun.
blast onto your
Everybody
models,
damage gets healed.
they'll just
Well,
heal, right?
I didn't even quite
Correct.
get to.
But you will definitely run into situations where you're just like, all right, I'll take stunned on my model, heal 4, and then clear it with Suzaku.
Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. I did not get to these models. These were like I was still working through the cards, and I did not get to read this. That's pretty sad.
And so when you've got like really efficient healers like this and ways to spread damage like you do in Asami 2, that's where you start getting ridiculously tanky.
Yeah.
Because the reason why like Tanjiong is so strong isn't that he's a defense 6 armor 1 model with soul stones. Don't get me wrong, that's really good, but it's the fact that he can let you like take 1 or 2 swings on the model you actually wanted to kill and then start taking the hit.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And so like that's the same kind of thing with Asami 2 here, is that like, yeah, if you put a ton of damage onto Asami too early, your opponent might just go, oh, you've put like 8 wounds on your master, and now I'm just going to kill your master who's got 4 wounds
Hmm.
left. It's, all right, I'll let you do like a couple of wounds to my guy in the front, and then I start soaking it in the back, and then I heal the guy in the front for 4 with the Obsidian Oni, I heal Asami 2 for 4 with her bonus, and then it's like, I just cleared 8 damage for a bonus and 2 AP.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now my crew's still at full hit points, and you've done nothing.
Yeah.
And you can have 3 of these guys.
Yeah, this is going to be a crew that you definitely. It's kind of like when you play against story, right? Because story's the same way. You got to like kind of pick the bubble apart, or use a scalpel to kind of dissect it. And you're right, in that version of Oni with this title version, you're definitely going to need to be like, okay, I need to like grab this model out. I need to maybe get rid of this Obsidian Oni. I mean, there's still armor 1, defense 5, so I mean, and
Yeah.
if you're playing the title, it can also soak damage on the master.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really hard to get through that bubble if you don't take the right tricks for it. But what makes it really nasty is you don't know if you need those tricks or not when you're playing into Asami, because they could play either version.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to finally see them on the table as a model instead of a summon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because
they're also just low key really good at putting out rift markers because they have swift action on their make a rift.
I mean, I have made this joke before, but I think it's still very appropriate. They took the Obsidian Oni out back and shot him, and then brought another guy in and called it Obsidian Oni. It's just
they're not the same
they're
model.
not. If you, the more I look at this model, the more I'm like, the only thing he has is Ruthless and Armor 1. Everything else on this card is different.
I think his weapon is the same, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't do burning anymore, which was like supposed to be part of their identity. Now that's just gone. Burning's not a thing for the keyword.
Yeah, it used to be stat 6, now it's stat 5. Like there's way more.
Yeah,
than
they changed them from hitty models to shooty models.
Correct.
Well, also they have draw out secrets on the heel. By the way, I don't know if it's not a heal if you use draw out secrets, but like draw out. I'll do the 1 point of damage to my guy to get a ski marker where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if
ski markers win games.
My favorite part about this entire endeavor is the fact that there's a lot of, if you're within X range of a rift marker, do this other extra bonus. I like it. Like for example, Flames of the Beyond says you get a plus flip on the duel. I like that. If you're within 1 inch of a rift marker, teleport. If you're within 1 inch of a rift marker, you can punch through it. I love that. I love that more keyword synergy is coming into this.
I think that's the end of our models.
It is. Yeah. There's been a lot of doom and gloom with some people. Some people are excited. So where do you guys land in totality now that we've seen all these changes?
I'm definitely on the excited side. I don't know if you knew this about me, but I'm not usually a very big guy to play summoners, and like Asami kind of was a cheat exception in my rule book before, but it still felt a little dirty. And now that there's a non-summoning version of it that I can play, I'm much happier to like get more games of Asami in. So I'm excited to get her on the table. Yeah, and I really do like a lot of what they did with the rework, and I'm excited to get to play more Waynudos.
Waynudo. Dixon, what about you? What do you think about the totality of this keyword?
I think the biggest thing that came out of this errata was Minako Ray got buffed for no reason. I'm sorry. That was like, don't get me wrong. Am I excited that I am going to
die on that hill together?
Dude, Oni are gonna be more played. I get that, but I'm still upset that I'm just gonna see Minako Ray, Ban Ying, and Sensei Yu over and over again until the end of time, until the heat death of the universe.
I am very happy because the title is super playable. I'm also not a big summoner guy, so I'm super pumped to just try out the title and just see what it can do. Get its walking around boots on and see how much jumping through rift markers we can do.
Definitely the title. Now that you said that, I'm definitely excited for the title.
Shenanigans are afoot. All right, well, it is later. I appreciate you guys hopping on short notice. I appreciate our patrons hopping in and enjoying the chat. Landon, I do want to say good luck on the weekend. I assume you're playing 10 Thunders, or did you get a wild hair?
Oh, I'll be playing 10 Thunders. I had the guild itch, but I resisted.
So, question. If these are in the app, they said that you could play the new Oni if it's in the app this weekend. Would you be brave enough to do that?
Oh, absolutely. I'll play whatever, so long as I've read it once, and I've read this once now. And if I think it's good for the round, I'll slam it on the table.
There you go. There you go.
I think, the reason why you can know I'm not bluffing is there's a video up from, I want to say, the first World Series top 16 they played, where I'm playing Misaki for the second time ever for like the top 16 or the top 8 game.
Nice.
Now I lost that game, and I made a lot of stupid mistakes that I shouldn't have made since I had only played the crew twice. But I'll do it, damn it.
Nice.
Dude,
I like it.
But she was fun though, at the very least.
Dixon, I appreciate you hopping on as well because I know it's later for you, so I appreciate that. But yeah, until next time, make sure that you guys are flipping cards and flipping tables, and we will see you all later.